The future of Call of Duty Zombies could be in trouble in 2027 as a bombshell leak hit the internet this week with the first details on Call of Duty 2027, with the most important leak detail of all, that it will not contain a zombies mode. So in this video, I'm going to break down all of the leaked details about COD 2027, who's developing it, as well as the lack of a zombies mode and what will be replacing zombies in 2027. There is a lot to discuss, so at any point, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below, as Call of Duty sunsetting the COD Zombies mode in a few years was definitely not on my bingo card. Jumping straight into the details, they come courtesy of the Ghost of Hope, one of the most reliable Call of Duty insiders and leakers over on Twitter. But as is the nature with any rumor or leak, you need to take it with a pinch of salt, as in the world of video game development, anything is subject to change in active development, and some details may end up changing entirely. The Ghost of Hope states that COD 2027 will be developed by Sledgehammer Games, and it will not be Advanced Warfare 2, instead being an entirely separate new sub-franchise for Call of Duty, which in my own personal opinion, I think is something that Call of Duty really needs right now, because we're constantly getting nothing but Modern Warfares and Black Ops games back to back. Whilst we don't know exactly what this game will be called yet, it's apparently set during the modern era, and it won't feature any jetpacks, but movement is planned to be a big focus. So whether that means that it will be a new variation of Omni movement or a complete overhaul to movement that will be different to Omni movement, we don't know yet. But the biggest takeaway is that zombies is currently not planned for the game, and instead might be replaced entirely with a new third mode, which will be a full-fledged version of Modern Warfare 3's Get High game mode, which was a experimental mode that was a parkour game against a variety of players in real time on an incredibly large parkour map, with the goal of making it to the end as quickly as possible. Ghost of Hope followed this up to say, imagine Get High as the third mode for COD 2027 with developer and community made maps, full-fledged leaderboards, and more, making it sound like Sledgehammer Games are really going to take this serious, and this will be the third mode in the game that will be replacing zombies. Now, this is quite surprising to see, because we have not seen a new third mode in a Call of Duty game since the days of Extinction, and there is definitely arguments to be made for and against zombies not being in COD 2027. Right now, I want to know your thoughts in the comment section if you are sad at the idea of there being no zombies mode in that game. We haven't seen any developer that isn't Treyarch try and make their own zombies since 2017. Infinity Ward had one go at it with IW Zombies, which was the most popular non-Treyarch zombies mode I think that we've ever seen. And then Sledgehammer Games had Exo Zombies as well as World War II Zombies. Now, I'm going to read every comment on this video, so please go ahead and leave a comment, even if you don't usually leave one, because I'd love to know your opinion on this, because the community is so against the idea of there not being zombies in COD 2027. A lot of zombies players think that replacing zombies with a parkour game mode is not the way to go, and is far from being able to replace the huge void in content and replayability that zombies usually brings. So my question to you is this: would you rather see Sledgehammer Games create their own version of zombies, which could end up not being anywhere near as good as the quality of a Treyarch zombies mode, but it still delivered zombies gameplay, or would you rather zombies be put on the shelf for a few years so that it can come back stronger with even more ambitious zombies maps and ambitious zombies game modes, leaving Treyarch solely to cook them up for a good few years? That is the million-dollar question, because like I've said, I've seen a lot of people in the community really sad and upset by this news and wanting there to be a zombies mode in this game, because 2 years without any zombies is going to be one of the biggest gaps that we have had ever in this modern era. So I have a very unique perspective to share with you in this video, because some of you will be like, hey, why can't Sledgehammer Games make their own zombies mode? This question was actually asked to the ex-creative director of multiplayer at Sledgehammer Games, Greg Reisdorf, where a Twitter user called Pydrick Fitton asked how come in Vanguard and MW3 Sledgehammer didn't develop the zombies mode in those games? Why did Treyarch have to make them? Was it a time issue, or was there something else? And this question ties in perfectly as to why can't Sledgehammer Sledgehammer make zombies in this game in 2027? And Greg's answer was that it's a loaded one. The best answer I have for you is that both Sledgehammer Games and IW had chances to make zombies and neither were successful with the community in his opinion. And then questions, would you let either of them try to make their own zombies again or simply go with what works? And then he also follows it to say, also assume you have a couple $2 billion at risk and your peers are looking for any reason to throw you under the bus and take your job. And that answer is absolutely crazy to me, but it does say a lot because that is the perspective of someone who worked internally at Sledgehammer Games creating these Call of Duty games and obviously had to be in these big executive discussions about zombies in their own game. And his answer unfortunately does really spell why we aren't seeing zombies in CoD 2027. Simply put, anything that isn't made by Treyarch is simply nowhere near as popular. But his wording makes it sound like if Infinite Warfare Zombies and World War II were received more positively by the community, then there would have been more chances for those to continue in their own subsequent sub-franchises rather than being completely scrapped in favor of solely Treyarch Zombies and Treyarch having to create a zombies mode within other titles that aren't Black Ops. And in the grand scheme of things, having zombies in every single Call of Duty game since Black Ops Cold War, minus Modern Warfare 2, has been far from the perfect scenario than what it sounds like on paper. Look at Vanguard Zombies as the perfect example of Treyarch being forced to create a half-baked zombies mode at the final point of the game's development just so it actually has a third game mode fleshed out enough to be put on the disc. There is definitely an argument to be made where in that scenario, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would rather have not had Vanguard Zombies purely from how damaging it was to the Call of Duty Zombies brand and taking development time away from Treyarch's upcoming projects. Like if you really look at the timeline from the last 5 years of Call of Duty Zombies development, Treyarch made Cold War, then had to make Vanguard Zombies, then Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 6 Zombies, and now Black Ops 7 Zombies. It is a relentless development cycle, and I'm sure that Treyarch developers would benefit from just solely having time to only dedicate to their upcoming projects instead of having to diversify into developing zombies into completely other games. It's a scenario where selfishly, as a lover of CoD Zombies and a CoD Zombies content creator, I want nothing more than to just keep receiving CoD Zombies content, but I know that realistically that is not possible forever. There has to be breaks on the zombie train where Treyarch can just sit down and solely focus for a few years developing the next Zombies experiences for us. They have been working really hard back to back, and who knows, by this time next year the whole CoD community might be fed up of CoD Zombies, and putting the mode on a hiatus might be the best outcome to ensure that when Treyarch's game rolls around again, we're gonna get an incredible CoD Zombies experience with a lot of time solely spent dedicated to developing it. But I do think Sledgehammer Games should be taking note of the community sentiment towards them trying to create their own version of zombies. Whilst yes, they were not as popular as traditional Treyarch Zombies, I still think there is a world where some people would like to see a new take on zombies, something a little bit different. As admittedly, I don't think that a get high mode as a permanent third mode would have anywhere near the replayability to match or rival the content and gameplay experience you get from zombies. Like, I think that says a lot about why there has never been a successful third mode that hasn't been a zombies mode. It's tried and tested, it just works, it's what people expect to see. So it's going to be very interesting in 2 years time to see this game get announced and released where there is a completely new third of the game that has to be rich enough in content to be able to sell that part of the game well enough. Maybe right now in the development of the game, Sledgehammer Games just don't realize how important zombies is to Call of Duty and how universally loved it is by gamers, let alone just CoD players. But unless the get high mode is expanded in such a colossal way, I think it's going to be really hard for that to stand against zombies as an offering that is enough, you know? And it's going to be really interesting to see. Like, who knows, based on the feedback of these leaks, if they are true, Sledgehammer Games might be able to change course a little bit on what they were planning, and maybe reconsideration of a zombies mode could potentially happen. I have no idea. I know full well many years ago, out of any game to have zombies in, I was not expecting Modern Warfare 3 to get zombies. Clearly that was was also a last minute thing on Treyarch's behalf, but I think that was a alternate zombies mode that worked really, really well. And if we are going to see a hiatus from Call of Duty Zombies from Treyarch, if Zombies was to continue, then at least push Zombies in a different direction to where we have that more open world style gameplay, even if it was similar to what we saw with Modern Warfare Zombies. Or heck, even something just completely left field that we have not expected, like Extinction as an example, but something that's just completely unexpected, something that we haven't seen before, just something that is a little bit different and something that's very unique, but still has all the elements that make up a great co-op experience. But I think fundamentally overall, regardless of where you sit in this camp of being upset of not seeing zombies or being happy that there isn't any zombies, I think at the end of the day, a break is very needed for CoD Zombies. Treyarch have been overworked for so many years now. I think it would honestly benefit us in the long run if Treyarch just solely had a few years to sit and cook for a good solid years without any distractions, without having to take their attention away, as I think fundamentally that is something that we can all agree that we want to see as a future outcome. But if you haven't left a comment yet on this topic, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But do bear in mind that all of these leaked details are subject to change. They could be completely inaccurate and straight up false, or things could change based on the community sentiment on these leaked details. We're just going to have to wait and see, but we've got a good 2 years to wait.